Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make your own t-shirts. Okay, so pretty much what you need is some plain colored t-shirts. You need freezer paper. They had it at Walmart and it was only like $5 for a crap ton of it, so there you go. You need fabric paint, and I got like fluorescent green because I thought it would look good. And then you need a couple of foam brushes. Those are like 50 cents. And then pretty much you need to make your own stencil. It's super easy. This is Charlie Chaplin. You can go and search on YouTube and stuff how to make stencils, but this took me like 5 minutes. And then you also need an iron, but I don't have one, so what I'm going to do is heat up this pot and then press down on it using both of the handles just like an iron. Yeah. Yay, college! So pretty much what you do is you take your 8.5 by 11 that you printed out, and then rip off a piece of freezer paper that will fit it, and then you take it and you put the freezer paper over it. And as you can see, you can kind of see like a ghosted image. And then what you do is you trace it out with like a marker or a Sharpie, and then you cut it out. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so you got to be careful when you're doing this. You need to use some sort of a razor or a sharp edge. An X-Acto knife works great. I'm using a box cutter because it's pretty easy to slice your thumb off. I'm not speaking from experience. You got to be really careful. This is his eye, and I messed up a little bit in my stencil, but you got to be careful to make sure that there are no islands of white. Otherwise, they're not going to show up because you're going to cut them out. You can do this with bigger things because when you use the freezer paper, you can just like iron them back on. But as far as small things like that, it's going to be really hard to place them, so you got to be careful of that. Right, so now that I have my stencil cut out, all I have to do is iron it onto the shirt. And when you're doing this, you got to make sure to iron it on correctly. So as you can see on the freezer paper, there is a shiny side and a parchment side. That's because one side is wax paper and one side is parchment paper. And when you are ironing on your stencil to your shirt, you have to make sure that you put the wax side down. So the wax side is going to be touching the shirt, and that's what's going to make it adhere to the shirt when you iron it. And then you also need to make sure to use a hot, dry iron. Alright, so here's my shirt. I picked out where I want the stencil to be on it, and then now I'm just going to iron it down. Take your fabric paint, and then you dab it on the brushes, and you just fill in the spots where there's no paper. You want to get a good layer of paint all over the stencil, and because you're using a brush and the freezer paper, it doesn't really matter because it's going to stick to the shirt, so you don't have to really worry about getting messy. And just to show you, here's the finished shirt. All you have to do is peel off the freezer paper and you're done. I made a bender one. I thought that one turned out pretty cool.